time now to have some analysis from my guest, the actor and sports fan, Frankie Clarence. Frankie, welcome to Global Sports Report. Now, let's start with tonight's big Champions League semi-final. No war of attrition here. Some people say semi-finals can often be boring, but this was a wonderful open game. It's Juventus who've stunned the defending champions with a 2-1 win. A deserved victory?
It was a very deserved victory. Everything about Juventus was just organised and very classy. Even the physios that came on for Chiellini were wearing suits. That's how classy they are. It was a great performance all around, and I believe the fans can go home happy the way they were so organised. And they really pushed Real Madrid, although Real Madrid had the opportunity to win the game with James Rodriguez hitting the crossbar, but they believed in themselves. So that was the most important thing, and they knew what the job was done. Very defensive and smartly done play.
And I think when Ronaldo had equalised for Real Madrid, that's his 76th Champions League goal, obviously a new record. Were you surprised at how Juve then really pushed forward in the second half? Because perhaps 1-1 wouldn't be such a bad result to take to Madrid. Do you think they really wanted to, they knew if they want to progress to the final, they have to win this home tie?
Yeah, although I just obviously complimented, and many people compliment the way they attacked, they just know that the defence is going to have to play a very, very hard game next week, because they know that with the likes of Ronaldo, the likes of Gareth Bale and so forth, they know that they've got the potential to score a goal. And I do believe Real Madrid will score a goal or more next week, but it's a thing where can Juventus retain that, so it'll be an interesting case.
Do you think some of the media and perhaps even Real themselves underestimated Juve because they haven't been in the Champions League semi-final since 2003, 2004? Do you think there was perhaps some... do you think Real did take Juve slightly lightly, or do you think Juve were just brilliant on the day?
I don't think that Ancelotti is very narrow-minded to think that, OK, these guys are in the semi-final, so it means it's going to be easy. I don't believe that he feels that way. Obviously, working in Serie A, he's come across Juventus, although it's not the same team when he was in AC Milan, but he knows what Juventus are capable of. And I think it's a situation where they were just really, really well done. I think people are a little bit surprised, but myself, and anyone who understands the game of football knows that Italy are renowned for defending well, renowned to being very organised, and Juventus were really good in that part.
Now, the return leg's on the 13th of May. Now, Juve have already wrapped up the title, so they can perhaps rest players before the second leg. Real are still chasing Barcelona, 2 points behind. Will that have any difference, the fact that Real have to keep going 100% in the league?
Yeah, because for all we know, it could go to extra time. So obviously, fatigue comes into play, tiredness, and mentally and physically. So it'll be interesting. Like I say, I would probably say Real Madrid will go through, but the factor of having less, more important games on the weekend can pay benefit to Juventus. OK,
so it looks like you're tipping Real to still go through. Let's turn to tomorrow's big game, the return of Pep Guardiola to Barcelona, of course. Lots of emotion for Pep, I'm sure, going back to the club that he played and managed. Will that have any effect on the game? Because obviously a large member of the Barcelona team were also managed by Pep.
Yeah, I don't think it'll play too much. I think the players are very professional in that sense. It's kind of weird the way Guardiola sets about these things. Very different to Jose Mourinho. Had this been Jose Mourinho playing against his old club, he would have made the attention and omen all on him, so there was less pressure on his players. Guardiola doesn't necessarily go on that. He demands 100% and playing the beautiful football, and I don't think it'll play such a significant effect.
How is this current Barcelona team different to the team that Guardiola have managed? Obviously, they have Neymar and Suarez playing up front with Messi. Lots of pace. Do they play slightly more counter-attacking style than what they did with Pep?
Yeah, Pep was more possession kind of football. I think with Luis Enrique, kind of added that incentive of fast attacking football. With the likes of Rakitic, the likes of, I don't believe Alba was there. No, yeah, let's say Suarez was there. I don't believe they were there during the time. So I know that they're more pressing on, hands-on, press-on kind of players, as opposed to Xavi, who's more pass side to side. Yeah. So I think they are a slightly different team. We can't say if they're a better team, because you have to wait until if you win the trophies.
And we know that Bayern obviously hammered Porto 7-1 in that quarter-final, but still no Robin or Ribery. How much will that affect Bayern going forward, the fact that they don't have two of their best wingers?
Well, you've got Muller and Goetze who can play there as well, and they're World Cup winners. So I think it's a bit insulting in their behalf to think that only Robin and Ribery are their folklore of attack.
But surely not having those two players is still a big loss, because Barcelona, Bayern and Real are the three best teams in the competition, and that's a huge loss for Bayern, isn't it?
It's a loss, but it's not the end of all means. You know, before we know, they can change up a few tactics. I know they've recently been playing 3-5-2. Like their wing-backs are playing as wingers, so it's a thing where maybe the sense of tactical approach, they've changed it just to benefit their team, but yet still having control in the middle of the field.
Let's quickly talk about football politics matters off the field. Diego Maradona, as we saw in that report, blasting Sepp Blatter. We know there's no love lost there. Do you think that will have any sway in terms of Blatter regaining for a fifth term? Do you think Maradona has any influence in the corridors of power?
He probably has an influence, not to the hierarchy, maybe not so much, but to the people below, either the fans and or the board as well. They can pay more attention to that because obviously as a player, they understand. Maradona understands the struggle from coming from the bottom all the way to the top. So people can relate to Maradona and can relate to Figo, who's running for presidency, as opposed to Blatter. I know a lot of people are criticising Blatter for the way he's run things over his 5 terms, but it can have an effect, but I don't think to the hierarchy it will matter that much.
And just quickly, your prediction in terms of this election. We've heard all the African nations say they will support Blatter. Do you think there's any way Figo or Prince Ali bin Hussein can become FIFA president?
I think Blatter is going to remain, as much as many people would not like to. I just think the firepower of Prince or Luis Figo don't have enough, nor the experience to keep up with what Blatter has to offer. Yeah,
Blatter looks to be favourite in that particular race. Frankie, pleasure having you here. Plenty more from you later in the show. And I'm joined again by the actor and sports fan, Frankie Clarence. Frankie, let's talk about this Nigerian businessman, the richest in Africa, who apparently wants to buy Arsenal. He's made a bid in 2010 before. That was rejected. Does he stand a better chance now?
It depends on how much of a stake he's asking. You know, there's a lot of hierarchy people that are trying to get a sense of percentage from the Emirates because they know Arsenal has a lot of profitable organisation. So it's how much he's asking. I know he's talking about certain situations. He's not willing to pay over too much. So it all depends on how much percentage he wants.
Do you think there's even any desire among the fans for new owners? I mean, and a new direction. That's what Dangote said, isn't he? He said that he wants to take the club in a new direction. The fact that the team is second in the Premier League, they're in the FA Cup final, they ended their trophy drought last year. Do you think people are happy with how the club is being run at the moment?
I think Arsenal fans would be grateful for what they have because, you know, they've got a sense of stability, which not a lot of top-flight football teams have. You know, the fact they've got stable infrastructure, stable management, stable board, I think they cannot be too complaining because it's one of the things they're ungrateful for things that they don't have, but it's only when they don't have it, it's when they realise, things were actually better than what it was.
And what do you think Dangote means by he wants to change Arsenal's style, or Wenger needs to change his style? Do you think he's talking purely on the pitch, or? Yeah,
I think he's talking purely on the pitch. I think he's speaking. I'm not sure if he is an Arsenal fan, but the way I read his article, he was speaking more as a sense of a fan of the club. He's more speaking about they should be more attacking, free flowing. Although that's what Arsenal are really renowned for, but he's changed. I'm not too sure what he meant. In the terms of infrastructure, I don't think as much he can done. They've already got a new stadium, they've got new training facilities, they've got everything that's very, very good infrastructure-wise. I'm not sure what he means by changing.
And Joseph Dosu, former Nigerian player, said he would prefer Dangote's money to be spent in Nigeria. Do you think he has a point? The English Premier League is already flooded with foreign money. Wouldn't it be better for him to invest in Nigerian football, to invest in African football?
It's hard to say that because we're not in a situation where we can speak through experience. End of the day, it's like me asking you shouldn't do X, Y, Z with your money. End of the day, it's what you've earned yourself to do. I don't think it's right you can give a sense of advice, but telling people maybe not. Personally, I can understand where they're coming from. I would love to see African football develop more than what it is. Because people think that because the World Cup in 2010, that was the pinnacle and it can never get no higher. We can go higher. We can produce better footballers. We can produce better infrastructures. Who knows? We can even probably host another World Cup in the motherland. So I think it'll be nice for him to do that in more Nigerian football. But at the end of the day, it's his money, so you can be happy with what he wants to do.
Fascinating story, though. Pleasure having you here, Frankie, on the Global Sports Report.
Cheers.